Okay, today I wanted to start with the first step uh, in exploring the mind. We talked about 6 of them last time in the introduction, and the first one's identifying our own mind. We have identified our own mind when we understand clearly its location, nature, and function. So these are 3 subjects that I explored a little. That way I can condense this information into this short video for the very first step of the identifying our own mind. There's some things, though, I wanted to read that I thought were important perspectives to share. Generally, it looks as if we know our mind. We all have minds. We all know what state our mind is in, whether it's happy, sad, clear, or confused, positive or negative, and so on. However, if someone were to ask us, what is the nature of our mind? How does it function? And where is it located? We would probably not be able to give a precise answer. This indicates that we do not have a clear understanding of the mind. And this, when reading it makes complete sense to me. Like, who thinks, we all know we have a mind, or we think we have a mind, we use our mind, but do we know where our mind is? Do we know what its nature is? We have assumptions on what its function is. So I'm going to just continue. Because of not knowing our own mind, we identify it incorrectly. Most people, when asked what the mind is, will point to their heads and probably say that it is the brain, but that is incorrect. Our mind is principally located in an area of our heart. Its nature is clarity. This means that it is empty, clear like space, and that it is a formless continuum, completely lacking shape and color, which possesses the actual power to perceive, understand, and remember objects. Now, this is something that I want to explain because it throws all 3 of the parts of identifying our mind, the location of it, the nature of it, and the function of it all into one paragraph. And I know the clarity can be a little confusing, but when we look at, we'll get into location also, but when we look at the nature of something, I want you to think about the nature as how it appears, how the nature of this can of peanuts is to hold peanuts. Its function is to hold peanuts, but its nature is this can. So when we want to hold peanuts from planters, we create the nature of this container, and it ends up serving the function to provide us with planters peanuts inside of it. Another thing is, one of these eggs, these Easter eggs, I only have half of it here, but the nature of it is this plastic green shape. The function is it holds candy, and you open it up and candy comes out of it. So taking those couple of examples, think about the nature of mind they were saying is clarity, and the function of it is to cognize things, to perceive things. The 2 are together as one, meaning everything, just like the egg and just like the planters, everything has a nature and then it has a function. So the mind's nature, what's kind of exciting is, what it said was, and I'm going to reread it now, thinking about our mind as we already know what the function is. It's to cognize or to perceive, and we feel like we already do cognize and perceive things. So now we're learning what the mind is made of, what its essence is, what it actually is. And it's clarity. The nature of the mind is clarity. This means that it is empty, like clear space, and that it is a formless continuum, completely lacking shape and color. And this completely formless continuum, lacking shape and color, possesses the power to perceive, understand, and remember objects. So again, that becomes the function of mind. So in essence, the very first thing is we start realizing in part of our mind that its nature is empty, clear like space. So as we're trying to realize our mind, we're trying to bring that into our meditation, into our awareness, then that becomes one of the 3 layers to this first meditation. So one of the layers is we start building a concept in our mind, we start building an image in our imagination of what that would be like, this clear, formless space that is our mind. And then the second layer then is to say that we also bring in the function of that mind. The function of the mind is to perceive things. There's something else that I thought was interesting, and I just want to kind of skew off on the meditation here to just bring up an interesting concept in regards to this. And it's, although we say we perceive objects, or I perceive objects, we do so only through the power of mind. A person or self is not clarity, because it is not clear enough to perceive or cognize objects. In other words, our persona is not the clarity that perceives things. Our mind is. Our persona possesses a mind, but that persona isn't the mind. And so the mind is what's actually functioning here. Only mind has the power to cognize objects. Without a mind, we are not able to perceive anything. Since only mind has the power to perceive objects, only clarity can be mind, and only mind can be clarity. And again, it's trying to re-emphasize this formless nature of our mind. And it's kind of exciting, because if you think of ourself, how we normally think, what we normally identify with, that's starting to find its mind. Right now we possess a mind, but we're more this, we're more our thoughts, we're more the way things make us feel than we are a formless continuum. So as we start progressing in this meditation, I can kind of see where yesterday when I was saying it's supposed to bring more patient minds, less anger, real quickly into our lives, I can see where they're coming from. We start identifying less with the part of us that suffers everything, the stresses or the way we feel or our exhaustion, that we end up going into the world with, almost like crippled. And we start identifying with this formless nature. That's our mind. That's more true to say that's who we are. So our self starts kind of melting into that. Now I'm going to just read about the function. The function of the mind is to perceive or cognize objects, to understand or to impute objects. When we say that we understand something, we do so only because our mind understands it. So understanding is a function only of the mind. Again, we say we understand, and in that identification of having a mind versus being the mind, we lose it. We say we understand, but really it's our mind that understands. And we live in a position right now where we possess a mind instead of identifying, clearly with our mind. Without our mind, we are powerless to do anything. We are able to perform actions only through the power of our mind. We may say, I created this, or I built this, or I painted this, and so forth, but without mind we cannot do anything, whether ordinary or spiritual. Just as a computer functions only if it has electricity, without mind our body is useless. Without electricity, a computer is fit only to be thrown away. And similarly, without mind, our body is fit only for the graveyard. And I think this is a really interesting concept too. I really love the computer analogy, because this thing's empty without a mind. This thing's dead without a mind, our body. And then now what we were just talking about the self, that our thoughts, our beliefs, then we can say that that's almost like a computer program. So we have the computer, our body, we have a program, all our thoughts, our actions, our beliefs. And then we have this mind that's actually like the electricity giving it all the power. But we're stuck in our thoughts, our mind, our actions, believing that we're this body and suffering its illnesses. And what we're going to come to learn or hope to experience is that none of that's true. And the key to freedom from suffering seems to be, journeying deeper and deeper into our mind. So I didn't finish, and I only have 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on another video next.